Brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lekter. Mornings at the cabin.
Morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. 7 o'clock, November the 20th. Minus 16 outside in Yellowknife. It's not that bad. Geoscience Forum starts today. Never did I think I would live in a part of the world where that would set pulses racing, that sentence. Geoscience Forum. Ooh. And yet here we are. Everybody looks forward to it. Big day. I know a lot of people have worked incredibly hard to put the Geoscience Forum together. Well done if that was you. Never thought I'd live in a part of the world where I would be actively trying to break into a Geoscience Forum. I never remember to register on time as media. Tickets are like $700? I don't know. It's more than you pay for a table at a VIP table at a Britney Spears gig. So I'll have to try and sneak in later when nobody's looking. What else we got coming up on the show today? We'll have a little word about what's happening at Yellowknife City Hall this afternoon. They're going to turn all the lights out. Will smart streetlights make the northern lights better in the Northwest Territories? Answer to that is possibly, if you give us $5 million. Find out more about that. And I'm excited about this one. And, I know, Randy, I know. And, my mother's on the show. To talk about video games. Because she knows way more than me. You have a little window, a little insight into my life coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. How my childhood was basically me sitting on an armchair watching my mum play shoot-'em-ups.
Mornings at the cabin, the podcast.
Morning, everybody. That's Lekter. I'm Ollie. Wheeler is away, and we continue our plot through the week on your behalf. The city of Yellowknife is turning off its lights around City Hall at 5:20, very specific, this evening.
Yeah.
The reason for that is it's to help celebrate their bid to win $5 million in this Smart Cities Challenge. And
worth celebrating.
Worth a shot at this $5 million. So they haven't got it yet, but they're in the final. I think there's 5 communities in it.
Right.
And they're trying to get the money to get smart streetlights. So what would happen is you would get streetlights in town. Like if we look out now, you can see there's various lights that are on. They would all be dimmed automatically if there was nobody near them.
Right.
So if there's no one near them, lights go dim.
Mm-hmm.
City says this will do everything from save energy right through to reduce light pollution, so the northern lights will look nicer.
Yeah.
And that's what this evening is about.
I remember this project coming up. Was it around this time last year?
Yeah, it's like at least half a year ago. I remember the start of it. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, the pitch for it. Anyway, and it seems like a great idea. I have no idea what is involved engineering-wise, but purely from an idealistic standpoint, it seems like a great idea, yeah. Are they still going to be doing the citywide Wi-Fi?
Well, this is the only question anyone really cares about. Everyone always nods through this and is like, yeah, reducing light pollution, yeah, sounds great. Energy saving, yeah, good thing. Wi-Fi? and I don't know is the answer to that. But I think the city has heard loud and clear that really all the residents care about is this going to be citywide free Wi-Fi? Because that would be amazing.
Well, I was nodding along in earnest. I think the light thing is very cool. Yeah. I mean, for a city that boasts its Aurora tourism, not a bad thing to have unnecessary light pollution kind of to a minimum.
More reason than most to go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But even more reason if you can then share the photos and videos online without having to pay your data fees.
That's right.
Especially if you're a tourist.
Immediately.
You know you're getting scalped for at least $10 a day wherever you go in the world if you're not in your home country on these blooming roaming charges. So all those tourists coming in from different parts of the world, hop on the free Wi-Fi network, settle back downtown, and lean back and look at the night sky, and it'll be beautiful. Great.
I mean, it's still cold outside, but you know.
We're going to work on that. So the next step with the smart streetlights is there's going to be heating systems built into all of them.
Ooh.
And massage chairs.
Oh.
That recline. So that now you can like lean backwards and you can press a button on the streetlight that says like, you know how you're activated by motion? Like ignore this bit. It's like a button that's like, I'm in the massage chair, so just ignore this motion. Then it reclines backwards. And then you get to lean up at the northern light sky that is now pristine and dark and you can see the northern lights. And then you can upload the live stream using the city's Wi-Fi.
Wow. You know, I saw a pretty slick Yukon tourism commercial the other day.
Oh, they haven't got smart streetlights. Never mind.
They don't
that.
have that. Yeah, you can have your commercial, your pretty little commercial all day Yukon, but if you don't have massage chairs and smart lights and Wi-Fi, we got nothing to worry about.
You come at us.
I guess people need to know about it.
Yeah,
We
well,
need to tell people about these.
we also need to do it and win
We
the
also
money
need to
first.
do it.
That's really the biggest barrier right now is that most of what we just said is fictitious.
Okay.
And even the part that's factual hasn't been done.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast. Hey, it was early. What do you want from us?
So a fine time in mullet history was around about 1992.
Yeah, I think that was about the heyday.
You know, sort of, people think the 80s, but really
Yeah.
the real criminals were the ones who continued it into the 90s.
Yes.
Because if you're on trend with it,
Mm.
you really weren't the main offender. The
No.
main offenders when it comes to mullets are the people who were so hopelessly off trend that they only got to it
Right.
once everyone else had concluded that it was a very bad idea.
Pro wrestlers kind of did both. They kind of like arguably started the mullet and then carried it on way too long into the 90s.
Held it until like 1998, at which point a lot of questions were being asked.
So they kind of fell into both camps
Yeah.
there.
So you just remind me in discussion of that. 1992, probably the greatest year of my life.
Yeah. Oh, really?
For one reason, and one reason alone,
Okay.
which is that I had like possibly a child's greatest experience.
Mm.
I used to go to every soccer game available to me, courtesy of my dad,
Right.
who is so incredibly invested in soccer that it's difficult to describe. And we would go drive up and down England, which takes at least 30 minutes, to every single game. And yeah, and all right, in reality, you can get like across England in about 5 hours.
Yeah.
But that is, people pack up their entire houses and possessions and bury their dogs to drive 5 hours in England. It's considered
Right.
to be like a life-changing experience. 5 hours here is a day trip. 5 hours in England means you're never seeing family again.
Yeah.
So we would go 5 hours and back to soccer games, which was ridiculous. And my dad would occasionally want to stay in a hotel because that was quite a trip. And so I remember one weekend we did stay in a hotel the night before the game. And getting in the elevator with my dad the following morning with my little Manchester City soccer team scarf on.
Right.
Being a cute kid.
Yeah.
I was a very cute kid. I don't know what happened, but at the time I was cute. And waiting in the elevator. And who should get in the elevator but the captain of Manchester City?
Who was?
A gentleman named Keith Curl.
Oh, okay.
Back when
Household name. Here
back
in-
when sports people in the UK could reasonably be called Keith.
They can't be called Keith anymore?
Well, there's very few young enough Keiths.
Yeah.
We run out of people who've been named Keith since
Okay.
about 1985 who could reasonably still be playing. Because I don't know about Canada, but Keith has plummeted off the naming chart.
Yeah, there's not too many famous Keiths here either. Yeah, now that you mention it. It seems like a younger name, but no.
It's like Gary, just done,
Oh,
cooked as a name.
My poor dad.
Nah, sorry, Dad. We all know Gary's, and look, Gary, it's no offense to you, Gary, but some Gary somewhere spoilt that for everybody.
Yeah.
And now there are no longer any Garys.
Gary and Bruce.
Yeah. There
Anyway.
you go. Those names are done. So Keith Curl, the captain of Manchester City, gets in the elevator with me and turns to me and says some little, sort of offhand little remark, sort of, hey, like, love the scarf, or like something nice.
Tussles your hair.
Yeah, the
Hey,
usual,
little
like,
fella.
all that. And then invites me to breakfast
Whoa.
with the team.
Oh, my God.
And I got to have breakfast with the entirety of Manchester City Football Club.
After you
in the
finished
team
going to
hotel.
the bathroom in your pants and then
Yeah, well, that took...
composed yourself.
Yeah, so I was in the elevators. Dealt with that there. Yeah, it was quite a moment. And they were the nicest human beings.
Amazing.
They were the absolute nicest human beings. And we spent, must have been like an hour, just sitting with the team, everybody chatting away, putting on their full, like, you imagine what breakfast would have been like without
Yeah.
an 8-year-old there.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I'm sure the tone of the conversation would have been entirely different. But with an 8-year-old there is all very good-natured jibes. Which I've got a vivid recollection of this.
Hmm.
Occasionally, I'm like, I might have dreamed this, but I was like 98% sure that this actually occurred. And
That's
it was,
reasonably assured. That's pretty good.
yeah, it was the greatest day. What is your number one celebrity encounter
My number one celebrity encounter. I gotta say, I don't have a lot of them. I have a standout botched celebrity encounter, and it's not that exciting. When I say botched, it sounds like I did something really stupid and embarrassing. No, it was actually I was at a Winnipeg Jets game. Very familiar name if you're a hockey fan, Teemu Selanne. Was, huge star with the Jets in the early '90s. And he was my hero. I would say still is my hero. I mean, if you're from Winnipeg, you love Teemu Selanne. There's just no way around it. He could definitely be the mayor of Winnipeg if he decided he wanted to do it, and it was legal. He would have no issue becoming mayor of Winnipeg. Anyway, so he was at the height of his fame as a Winnipeg Jet. And we didn't go to a whole lot of Winnipeg Jets games live. We watched all of them on TV, but didn't go to a whole lot live because they were a bit expensive, and we weren't super well off or anything. But anyway, got to go to a game. Actually, it was with my hockey team at the time, my little minor hockey team. We all went to this Jets game, and part of the deal was that we got to meet the players afterwards and get autographs signed and all that. And everyone was really excited. But I think we found out that night that Teemu Selanne was going to be one of the players signing autographs. So I was just in my glory, waiting for this inevitable moment. And so we go downstairs after the game. Jets won 5-3 over Detroit. We go downstairs and we're waiting in this tunnel for the players to come out and take a seat and start signing autographs. And we're waiting. And I have my hat and I'm all ready to go. I'm all ready to meet my hero, Teemu Selanne. And then my mom comes up and she's like, Scott, I'm sorry, but your grandparents, they really want to go home. They're, it's been a long night.
No.
They're kind of tired. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave your hat with one of your friends, and he's gonna get Teemu Selanne to sign it for you.
No.
And then he'll bring it back after, and that's what's gonna happen.
No.
I was crushed.
Oh.
I don't even know what I said. I don't even think I said anything. I think my face just went gaunt, and I was just like, okay. Just handed my hat over, defeated. Probably got laughed at by some of my teammates because that cat's got to go home with Graham and Grandpa. I don't think I forgave my grandma and grandpa for probably like the rest of that year. Once I stopped wearing that hat because it was too small, then I probably forgot about it. But yeah, that one was a bitter pill to swallow.
I have a Teemu Selanne story.
Do you?
That's exactly the look of absolute surprise I was expecting to get from you for that one. As regular listeners may have heard me mention once or twice, as unlikely as this may seem, given how little I give away about my hockey knowledge, largely because there isn't any, I have actually done Olympic TV play-by-play on hockey.
Right.
At Vancouver 2010 of all Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's hard to believe, and there were approximately 30 million Canadians who know more than I do about hockey, but guess what? Not many Brits do. So look at me, front of the line.
Lucky you.
Yeah. And Teemu Selanne was in the first game I ever called on live TV.
Oh, wow.
Which was Finland against, I think it was Czech Republic, quarterfinal of Vancouver 2010.
The quarterfinal was the first game you ever called on live TV.
Quarterfinal
Just
of Vancouver 2010.
right into the fire. Here you go. You got it.
The reason that came about is I used to do radio play-by-play just on the UK's hockey league. Not even like the top league. It was like the second tier league. And we had a lot of fun doing it. But as you can imagine, British hockey is not the greatest. The example I always give is that a 51-year-old Canadian once won Player of the Year.
Right.
You shouldn't win Player of the Year in any league at the age of 51. Even in Yellowknife, you should not be winning at the age of 51. Certainly not in the whole of the UK.
But he was. Is this the Wayne Gretzky of British hockey?
No, that's Tony Hand.
Tony Hand. That's the one.
No, this is another guy called Steve Moria who was drafted by the Rangers in 1987, and then I believe never played after that. I could be wrong. Or maybe I forget. I'd have to look at his career, but safe to say, doesn't really trouble the NHL statisticians. And
good trivia question though.
There you go. And so I did a bit of this radio play-by-play, and I happened to be talking about that in the office at the BBC's little tiny cave that they had at the Vancouver Olympics.
Right.
And the guy in charge of the whole Olympics coverage overheard me and just turned around and said, well, do you want to do a game tomorrow? And yeah.
No?
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being in a situation where you're at the Olympic Games and someone overhears you and just turns around and says, hey, do you want to do a hockey game live on TV tomorrow?
It's like, don't you have someone lined up for that already? This is the Olympics. I'm not sure if you're aware.
So they had a coverage team lined up, but because of the time difference and because it's all overnight in the UK, they used those guys quite sparingly. So they would probably, like, one of the quarterfinals was Russia-Canada.
Right.
I imagine they'd have used, like, those guys on Russia-Canada in the US, Switzerland.
Mm.
And that left Finland, Czech Republic, and Sweden, Slovakia.
Oh, okay.
And so they gave me Finland, Czech Republic, figuring that nobody in the UK would really care about Finland, Czech Republic. So it's a safe one to give me.
Okay.
And yeah, so I had 24 hours to prep my knowledge of the Finnish and Czech rosters.
Yes.
Which, as you can imagine, having only done like British part-time hockey coverage up till then.
I kind of want to hear some tape of these British hockey leagues. Yeah, play-by-play. I don't even need to see the video. I just want audio.
I have somewhere got a DVD of my play-by-play.
Amazing.
And I keep it under lock and key because I can't let anyone Canadian hear it. Because then I'll just be dead. I'll never broadcast again in this town if anyone ever hears my voice doing Olympic play-by-play. Because it was pretty bad, Scott.
All right, NWT hackers.
Yeah, you can't hack a DVD.
Oh, you can't? Oh, shoot.
Not if it's in my bedroom. Like the way you have to like literally break into my house. It's more like, all right, NWT burglars.
You never uploaded it anywhere?
No, it's nowhere. It's nowhere digitized. You would actually have to break into my house. So,
all right.
So you're gonna have to. It's an entirely different class of criminal. You're gonna have to appeal to on the air.
Babs.
Or my mother.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
Now, we've already delved a little into my childhood this morning, so why not go the whole hog? And why not just invite family onto the show? Morning, Mother.
Good morning, Ollie. Good morning, Scott.
How you doing, Babs?
I'm good, thank you very much. Apart from, it feels a bit like a job interview coming on here.
No, you're safe with us.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
You're hello. Scott is the creative director.
If I could add a couple of things.
Already straight out the gate? I haven't even asked you a question yet.
Yeah, no, I just want to add to the two things you've been talking about. So yes, I do have a DVD of that hockey game.
Beautiful.
And it shall remain safe, and you shall never show anyone ever again. Hmm?
I may have to put it up for offers on eBay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And the other thing is, yes, you did go and have breakfast with the team.
I knew it.
You went by yourself. Your dad and I had stayed in the ordinary plebs breakfast room, and you went by yourself and had breakfast with them. And I can remember you coming back, beaming all over your little face, carrying a football signed by all of them.
Aww.
Yeah.
Cute.
That was a good day at the office. I enjoyed that. Good. I'm glad I didn't make that up. I said I was 98% certain, but there was 2% in there where I was not 100% convinced that had actually happened to me.
Yeah, to be honest, I have to check, because I do listen, as you know, and sometimes you do make these strange announcements about your childhood, and I send you little texts saying, "What? That never happened."
Well, you got very grumpy about that time when I described how I still don't know how to clean my teeth properly at the age of 34.
Yeah, that one, and that you'd never done a pumpkin. That was just horrific.
Well, I'm sorry.
You should have seen the pumpkin.
I've got no recollection of ever carving a pumpkin.
Clearly.
All I have is that one memory where I swear you woke me up to show me a pumpkin that you'd carved, and I told you, "Don't worry, it's going to be okay," because I was still half asleep, and then went back to sleep again.
Only a fool would wake a sleeping child, so no, I didn't wake you.
All right, okay. So I feel like this is all very. Morning, everybody else. We're just going to have this little internal discussion. Now, the reason you're on the show this morning, there was an actual reason rather than just randomly bringing parents onto the show, which is you tried to get a hold of me. It was last Friday. You tried to give me a call using the old Facebook Messenger, and I was in the middle of a meeting and thought, oh, it's all right. We'll connect later on. So couldn't take the call, and then you phoned me back to explain why you'd been so keen to speak to me. What exactly had been happening?
Oh dear, it's going to sound very hard to explain. So,
Depends on who's listening.
so you are probably the only person who understands.
No, come on.
some of the games I play.
I've got faith in the people of Yellowknife. So to preface this, you are a huge video gaming fan and have been for decades. Like ever since I was born, we have done pretty much nothing in each other's company other than play video games, which has been fantastic, and I wholeheartedly commend that to the crowd. And so what I feel like you know the answer to this. What is your video game of choice and has been now for years?
Well, yes, obviously it's the Elder Scrolls Online and the whole of that series. So
Obviously.
Again, when you started off today, you said that we sat on the couch and I played shoot 'em ups. I hate shoot 'em ups. So
Oh,
no,
come
we
now.
didn't play those.
You used to play Doom. You used to play Eye of the Beholder, all that sort of
Not
stuff.
really. Not Eye of the Beholder is classed as an RPG. So mostly that's the genre that I loved. And you used to help me drawing out the little maps and helping me find our way around the dungeons.
Yeah, that was my role in life. Most kids got to play Grand Theft Auto. I got a sheet of graph paper and got to sit next to you and map out a mine.
You loved every minute. But we did also play whatever that soccer game was, where I could actually beat you in those days. But
Yeah, that was always
I
a shame.
think we were having that discussion about age, weren't we, this week? And as games improved for soccer, and as I got older, I was just completely incapable of beating you.
Look at you calling it soccer on the air because you know you've got a Canadian
Wow.
audience.
Oh dear, yes. Well, I obviously listen too much to cabin radio.
That's what we like to hear. So anyway, returning to the Elder Scrolls Online, if people don't know, the Elder
Yes.
Scrolls is like this role-playing game. You play as, what's your character? What kind of thing is your character?
Well, I have 8 characters in total, but my main character is an Argonian lizard.
A lizard.
Yeah.
What's the Argonian lizard called?
He is called Gathers No Moss.
Okay.
So he's called Moss for short.
Moss
I rang you to
friends.
tell you that I'd completed an incredibly difficult piece of solo. It's like a challenge, really. So it's an arena. There are 9 stages. I initially stopped trying to do it about 2 years ago because I just thought I'm too old, I'm too slow, I'm never going to be able to do this. I went back to it a few weeks ago thinking I must be stronger by now, my character, I must have learned so much. Went back in, got through the next 2 stages, got stuck on the last stage, and I have spent 4 weeks practicing and trying to do it, and finally did it. So you're pretty much the only person, apart from 1 or 2 friends who I play the game with online, who are literally online friends.
Well, no, you got a fan
You're the
club
only one.
you got a fan club of like 20,000 listening now.
Well, I hope there's someone in Yellowknife who also plays, who may be my age too. But I'm sure, I mean, the first Elder Scrolls came out in about 93, and that was called
wow.
Daggerfall Arena, and you and me used to play some of those early ones, but obviously I've played Skyrim and Morrowind, and just love, the chance to escape and to wander about the place and do, they're all kind of open worlds, so you're free to
I had no idea
do
the
what you
series
want,
was that
really.
old.
So much you can do.
Yeah, the series has been going on for more than 2 decades, for sure. And what I love is you describing there, like, you like going out into these open worlds, these beautiful worlds you get to escape to. Where do you live?
Well, I did my best to move to an Elder Scrolls environment on a Scottish island.
Right, you live on the Isle of Bute, just off the coast of western Scotland, in what is
I
essentially an old fisherman's cottage.
I do, yes. In
It's not
what
bad,
would
is
have
it?
been an old fisherman's port.
Oh, there you go. So you've now conquered this veterans maelstrom arena, I'm going to say. Is that right?
Very good. Yeah, that's it. And
This was my
I
whole
have a new
childhood, by the way.
title.
This was my
I have
whole
a new
childhood.
title, which is Stormproof.
Stormproof.
So is this like
I know.
a competitive online tournament against other people?
Not this particular one. This
Okay.
is a solo challenge, but yes, there are what they call there's PvP, which is player versus player, where if you want to play against other players, there are big castles and various things you can defend. So you can get into little groups, or you can play by yourself. You can also duel other players anytime you want.
I have been advocating for a while now that you should get a Twitch account, stream
I
on
know
Twitch,
you
or
have,
stream
but-
on YouTube,
but
and we would. I
had-
think people would be fascinated.
Sorry, I had thought about that, but that kind of intrudes into the escapism of it, I think, for me, because part of it is about being, I'm a bit of a loner, and part of it is about being that, and I'm not sure I would want X amount of people watching me, because part of the joy of playing is literally having that world to myself.
But people want to escape with you, Babs.
No,
Advertisers
I
want
don't
to
want
pay you
them.
to escape.
I don't want them.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
Okay, what's the next challenge now that you've conquered that?
Well, I'd like to remind you that you've promised to make a character and come in one day, like you used to do in the Nexus, or I used to make you do in the Nexus to
The
help
Nexus,
me.
remind people what. So the Nexus was like in the late 90s was an early predecessor to this, where it's like ancient Korea that you could escape to. It was all like 8-bit, 16-bit characters.
Okay.
It looked super cool. And I did join that one as well. And we used to have bizarre family situations where you would be downstairs playing as your character, and I would be upstairs in my room playing as my character, and we'd both be in a cave somewhere in ancient Korea hacking sheep to death. It was a fun childhood. It was an unusual childhood. It was a lot of entertainment. But yeah, we family evenings together were probably not quite the same as. I feel like a lot of people listening to this played Settlers of Catan round to like a roaring log fire in a Canadian cottage somewhere.
Oh, come on. Nobody lives that romantic a
If
life.
I could just point out, just so that everybody knows, we also went for lots of lovely walks. And
Yes.
had 3 dogs.
All right,
We went cycling and camping and all sorts of other things. And of course, your dad took me off to football.
Look,
So-
I am going to end every future on-air appearance I make where I mention you with an asterisk and a disclaimer that says "was an excellent parent," just so that you have that
That would be
reassurance.
great.
Okay,
That would be so lovely. Thank you.
good. I'm glad that we're on an understanding there. Don't worry.
But whilst we're on air, you have promised, and so considering I am getting older, you did promise to make a character and come in, so I will hold you to that, please, but hurry up.
All right,
I'm also going to hold you to that, Ollie.
great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem,
you.
Babs. I gotcha.
Mother, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Love to Gathers No Moss, the Argonian lizard.
I will. Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast was recorded before a sort of live, thankfully not in the studio, audience.
It is Customer Appreciation Day today at Erasmus Apparel, our number one Delo or no Delo partner of choice. And they have got 50% off all day on absolutely everything in store, I believe.
Very nice.
Yep, up to 50%, I should say.
Good
Before-
friends at the cabin.
Yep, good friends of the cabin down at Erasmus Apparel, up to 50% off your purchases all day long. Customer Appreciation Day down at EA today. Lots of new great stuff, says Sarah Erasmus. Come on down and check it out. And the latest Delo or No Delo, where you can win yourself an awesome-looking EA snapback hat, is coming your way on Facebook very shortly as well. Now, we were discussing, we had my mother live on the show. You may have missed that. She came on just after 8 o'clock and discussed her video gaming, her latest triumph in Elder Scrolls Online.
Bit of a swerve this morning on Mornings at the Cabin.
Yeah, that was an entertaining little conversation, and we learned a lot about her. Yeah, woman with 4 decades of video gaming experience. It's pretty
My
impressive.
God. What a career.
I tell you, that is a career. When I think about the sheer number of games that she has conquered
Yeah.
outright, and had like level 99 out of 99 characters in, it's pretty impressive.
There's a lot of things that make me realize in our daily conversations that we had very different lives growing up. This one was one of them. Not falling outside of that camp. As was telling you a little bit about my parents' foray into video games off the air, an ill-fated foray, no less. So actually, my dad, I shouldn't say totally ill-fated, because my dad, I actually thought when I was younger, was really good at video games, because I don't know if have you ever heard of the game system in television?
Yeah.
It was like just
Very
after
vaguely.
Atari.
Yeah.
Somewhere between Atari and Nintendo.
Yep.
it for some reason it doesn't seem to be as well known as Atari, but it was big. Like there were tons of Intellivision games, and that was the first gaming system I ever remember playing. It was really bizarre looking, had these like huge controllers on these phone cords with like number pads on them. Yeah, and you would like slide little things in there to play the game, over the number pads. It was really bizarre compared to today's video gaming systems, but it was great, and there were some really fun games for it. One of which, my dad's favorite, was Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, solid choice.
Yes. And I distinctly remember as a young child, and so he babysat me and my sister and a few of my cousins when we were really young and weren't of school age yet. So one of our favorite activities was to gather around and watch my dad play Dungeons and Dragons on Intellivision, and the game terrified us. We would literally hide behind him because you would hear at certain points you'd be, your little guy would be moving through a cave and you'd start hearing snoring. And it was the snoring of a dragon. And we were just like, oh my God, this is so intense. Like my oldest cousin tried to play the game once and shot himself with an arrow, and that was it. He was just terrified.
In the game, presumably, right? Rather than
game.
Just like that was his way out.
Yes,
oh, yeah, okay.
No, in the game.
Good,
He
good.
went to hospital, and that was his excuse.
It's like the way that people avoid the front line by shooting themselves in the foot.
That's right, yes. He played once, he tried it, he saw like a blob monster and just panicked and fired off an arrow. It hit like 2 walls and ricocheted back and hit himself.
Oh.
And that was the end of his Dungeons and Dragons adventure. But so I always thought my dad was really good at video games as a child. Learned on that, he was just really good at Intellivision. He played this probably a bit too often. And I think his moment in video games, his moment in the sun as far as video games ended when I just slaughtered him every time we played the hockey game for Intellivision. And it wasn't even close. I took him apart eventually.
And you were how old?
Oh, I was already in my teens. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was years after Intellivision should have stopped working.
I see.
And we were still playing the hockey game, and it was a lot of fun, primarily for me afterwards. And I think after that, once I had eclipsed him in Intellivision hockey, he was like, well, that's it for me. No more video games. My mom's video game career was much shorter lived. I don't think she ever played Intellivision, but when I was about 5, 6, 7 years old, we got a Nintendo, the original Nintendo Entertainment System, which of course came with Super Mario and Duck Hunt. She played Super Mario. I think she was the first one of our family to actually play Super Mario.
That's an honor.
And she fell down the very first pit.
Oh.
And that was it. That was the first and last time she ever played a video game.
Super Mario World 1, Level 1.
First
into
hit.
the first, like, just off the edge, done.
Down she goes.
Never played a video game again.
To hell with this. Yeah, that was it.
Like a 3-second career, and I may be being generous.
Probably the shortest lived video game career in human history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we...
Very different childhoods.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca.